Perfect. Good evening, everybody. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the December 9th meeting. Are there any additions or corrections? Are there any motions to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. All of those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion, minutes are approved. Michelle, do we have any lobby visitation?
No, we do not.
Thank you. With that, we'll get into Utilities Director reports. Brian.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon. First item actually first and the second item kind of put together somewhat. I try to give you a heads up on this one, but we'll talk about the first item here. Initially, the water meter and tap fee schedule. We tried to do this on a more regular basis. Last year we did it, I think in January of '24. But basically, we'd like to update our costs and fees for providing a water meter and making a tap for customers. And so our costs to purchase the meter and the valves and the other materials that goes into that installation are reflected in these costs, as well as some labor hours that are used for staff to go out and actually install the meter. So basically, we update the price from our suppliers and, put the numbers together, and this is what we end up with. There was a slight change, like one or two different meter sizes dropped off. We had a 3/4 inch meter in there that really wasn't used and isn't really part of our process anymore. So that fell off. Maybe another one, there was maybe two 2-inch meters that were on there before, and so we're down to one of those now. Yeah, so the schedule itself is there for your review. If you like, I can roll into the second topic if you wanted to discuss that at this time. Okay. Okay, certainly. Yeah, so the second topic, second agenda item is about residential construction fee waivers. And back in 2023, City Council passed maybe 2 ordinances that waived certain fees for residential new home construction related to subdivision construction, plan reviews, as well as for the home construction that occurs after the subdivision is constructed. That'd be for things like that. Again, the zoning permit for the house permit, sidewalk staking, excavation permits for putting infrastructure, putting their infrastructure in the right of way for the house. And so most of all those are non-utility related expenses or fees that the city would charge for new residential construction. So no utility fees were waived. The idea was brought up that why aren't we waiving utility fees related to new home construction like the other departments? And it is a little bit confusing when some fees are waived and some are not, and the developers don't really understand why this one was or that one wasn't. So I put together a list of 5 fees that we have related to new home construction. First one is for temporary electric, that's $75. The second one is for sanitary lateral inspection, that's $100. Storm lateral inspection is $35, and then the last 2 is the water meter fee and the water tap fee, which we just kind of talked about here earlier. So I kind of gave you some explanations to what those incur, what those involve. The recommendation that I would provide to you, I guess, or recommend to you is we consider waiving the first 3 items, which would be the temporary electric service, the sanitary, and the storm lateral inspection. There's really very little materials that we put into those. It's mostly labor hours, and that's actually what the $100 and the $35 fee is. We're trying to recover is our labor costs to go out and do the inspection of those properties. So those are relatively small in the grand scheme of things. Item 4 and 5, though, the recommendation for that would be to waive the labor and equipment charges that we have that's included in those fees. And for residential, we typically see 5/8 inch meter and 1-inch meters and a 1-inch tap. The water tap, the 1-inch tap isn't charged for new subdivision construction because the developer puts those taps in when they build the infrastructure. They pay for the water line They put the taps in where the plans call for, and the tap is already made, so we don't have to do anything for that. So we don't charge for new subdivision construction. There are times where a vacant lot might be built somewhere in the city where there's not a water tap already provided, and then we would charge that fee to go out and perform the tap on the water main. So if we backed out the labor and the equipment costs that we have included in the fee schedule that we just discussed, I gave you a small table on the second page. The 5/8 inch meter would go from $1,090 down to $910. 1 inch meter, similar reduction there. And then the 1 inch tap would be from $1,520 to $800. So there's more labor involved with making the tap than there is the installation. So I think also the one reason for not waiving the entire cost of those materials is it is a more substantial amount of money compared to the other fees. You're over $900 for the materials to supply a water meter to a property. And so that's the recommendation I would propose to you, is to consider waiving the first three charges we discussed, and then taking out the labor and equipment charges from the meter and the tap fee. So it's not getting totally in alignment with all the other departments that have waived their fees, but these are direct costs that we incur for, say, purchasing materials that we can't really avoid.
I have a question, Brian, regarding the language you've got in the resolution, the 02 here.
Sure.
I don't know, about 3/4 of the way down, it says, whereas these utility waivers are intended to be in place as long as all other city department fees associated with new residential construction are waived by the city council, ... But I guess my question is, does that add a layer of complexity as far as like, why would we not waive the fees through, December 31st, 2025, or whatever the date was? Because if city council either extends a portion of them, to me, it kind of gets a little gray as far as what would continue and what would not. Because, I'm reading that as kind of a binary. If city council chooses to extend everything, then this continues. But if for some reason they don't, does this continue? Do we need to reevaluate? Whatever. I guess, is this pretty standard? I know this was it seems like a kind of a unique situation, but I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Or am I making it too confusing?
Yeah. So, well, first, it's not standard, which is why we're
right.
It is kind of unique. I wrote it that way to be a little bit open ended, so that if city council did say, well, we're going to extend it for another year, then this would also get extended, for another year, so that we're in alignment with the waivers from other departments. If council does not extend it past 2025, then this would expire in 2025, in December 31st, 2025, and we'd go back to charging the same thing we did before. But so would the other departments. They would all charge their fees related to new home construction as well. So if you'd rather it be December 31st, 2025, we can revise that language if you'd like to make that change. And then if council decides later on that they want to extend it, we'd have to come back to you, I guess, and say, council extended this. We'd recommend you do the same and follow their same schedule. This leaves it basically at the discretion of city council that they would, if they want to go past 25, then this would also go past 25.
Would you interpret this if city council extends elements but not the entirety of their waivers? Would this continue or would this end?
It says, I think it says, it says all other city departments. So if they chose to say, okay, Public Works, you're going to stop with the waivers and start charging again, I would say then this means that we're going to start charging again.
Okay.
So as long as all of their same waivers are in place, then this would be in place. If they change one of them, I would say this falls off.
Okay. I appreciate the clarification. Thank you. All right. Are there any other questions? Are there any motions?
Sir Chair,
Yes, sir.
make a motion to approve Resolution 01-2025-01, approving the water meter and tapping fee schedule.
Second?
Properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? If not, Michelle, would you call the roll, please?
Newlove,
Yes.
Jesse,
Yes.
Wagner,
Yes.
Hogan,
Yes.
Suzik.
Yes.
All right, motion is approved. Do I have another motion?
Sir Chair,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 01-2024-02, new residential construction fee waiver.
Properly moved and seconded. We'll get into discussion. I do have a discussion question. Maybe I can direct this to you, Brian. But what you've said, I think it's just a typo, whatever, but it does say 2024, not 2025. So at the very least, you
Sorry.
probably want to revise that. I assume that's what we want on that, right?
Yeah, sorry
Nope,
about that.
it's all good.
My bad.
Is there any discussion? If not, Michelle, would you call the roll?
Suzik,
Yes.
Hogan,
Yes.
Wagner,
Yes,
Jesse,
Yes.
Newlove.
Yes.
motion is approved.
All right, thank you. Appreciate that. That is all I have for you. Unless you have questions for me. Jim's got the next two items.
Any questions for Brian?
Thank you, Brian.
Nope, thank you, sir. Jim?
Good evening. The first thing I need to talk to you about, supplemental appropriation for the wastewater refund. This goes back 22, we brought a resolution to you to adjust our extra strength surcharges, the way we were calculating it and some of that language. And that passed. So what that resulted in us creating a spreadsheet to track the pollutants and the charges associated with them. And we created a new spreadsheet, started plugging in the data, and went on from April 23 is when it passed till April 2024. And it was brought to our attention that something wasn't right. At that time, we only had 2 customers that were being charged an extra strength surcharge. So we stopped charging them in April of 2024 until we could figure out what was wrong with our calculations. By August, we had determined what the error was and what the overcharge was for the 2 customers. We had a couple cells in the spreadsheet that were linked to formulas, and the link broke, so those cells weren't updating for 3 of the components. So we were, once we knew what the overcharge was, we started deducting what their, since we stopped charging them in August until November, from that balance of overcharge. And we finally brought it to their attention in December. That was, I guess, our bad that we didn't reach out to them sooner. I think there was some miscommunication internally. But Phoenix requested that they get reimbursed the remaining balance rather than continuing to let it come off of their continuing charges. We budget about $5,000 annually for refunds in different services, so we're just short to pay Phoenix, or I'm sorry, Betco, the $39,000. Phoenix and Betco are the 2 customers affected by the overcharge. So we're asking for a supplemental to pay them that balance.
So Phoenix will just keep getting credited until they get,
Yeah, they haven't had any issue with, at least they haven't reached back to us or commented on it, so. In the meantime, we did correct the spreadsheet and lock all the cells with formulas in it so that Brian's got the top secret password, so no one can edit those cells without his oversight, so.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Are there any motions?
Mr. Chair, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Brett.
I propose that we approve Resolution 01-2025-03, authorizing a supplemental appropriation for a wastewater refund.
Second?
Properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? If not, Michelle, would you call the roll, please?
Newlove,
Yes.
Jesse,
Yes.
Wagner,
Yes.
Hogan,
Yes.
Suzik.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. The next item I have for you is a request for an accommodation water tap. RPM Commercial owns a 46-acre parcel on Newton Road. Has 2 rental properties on it. They are currently receive water, one from a well and one from a cistern. And we have water at the corner of North Main and Route 25, and they would like to tap the water line to serve those properties. They're willing to sign what is it they sign? I'm sorry. The accommodation tap and annexation agreement, which comes standard with any tap. So they would pay for the tap and the water line from North Main all the way to the property. It's about 2,000 feet. So we recommend that you approve the resolution.
If I could add one thing, they are contiguous to the city limits, and so instead of an annexation agreement, they'd be asked to annex the property to the city as part of the exchange of getting the utility service.
All right. Are there any other questions? Are there any motions?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I move we approve Resolution 01-2025-04, authorizing an accommodation water tap agreement.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? If not, Michelle, would you call the roll, please?
Suzik,
Yes.
Hogan,
Yes.
Wagner,
Yes.
Jesse,
Yes.
Newlove.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. That's all I have.
All right. Thank you, sir. With that, we'll get into management reports. Electric, John?
We just finished up Toussaint Springs out at Newton and Brim, and we've been in Tontogany doing some work out there. And it's the end of December. The city is all LED now. We got rid of all the high-pressure sodium lights. So
Nice work.
Excellent. Thank you. Water supply.
Staff out there has been doing scheduled maintenance.
Excellent. Thank you. Water distribution, wastewater.
Sewer side of things, we are focusing on our pump station maintenance. Good thing to do this time of year. And water side, we are about finishing up our service line identification project, so we're almost there.
Excellent.
Thank
you. Water pollution, John.
The internal screens for the odor control tanks, the screens themselves are to be delivered tomorrow, so we can get those scheduled, get them put back in. The electric division is putting in our area, or our raw pump drive at the pump station, so we should have our 4th pump back up in service here in short order. And our maintenance crew, WPC maintenance crew, is rebuilding one of our RAS pumps. So that's all we have.
Excellent. Thank you. Business office, Jackie's not here. All right. Mr. Mayor's not here. Lori? No report. Attorney, no. Public Works. Okay.
Crews are completing the Christmas tree collection, should be done tomorrow, and hauling brine from ODOT. We ran after our last snow event.
Excellent. Thank you. Engineering?
Just getting ready for next year's projects. We're wrapping up the right-of-way acquisition for the South Main Street project for the new turn lane going in northbound and southbound at South Main and Napoleon. And then we're getting the final drawings submitted to ODOT so we can get that out for bid here this winter and get it on the books for start as soon as the weather breaks.
Excellent. Thank you. Comms, Amanda.
This month's utility insert is focusing on extreme cold and the effects of bills. The UBO office gets quite a few phone calls this time of year as the weather dips like we're seeing. We'll also focus some of our other outreach efforts around that messaging as well. And then we've started gathering data for the annual stormwater report that's due to the Ohio EPA by April 1. So we'll be reaching out to all of you for some information as well. So that's it for me. Thanks.
Thank you. All right. Council member reports. No reports. Any board member reports?
No report.
Anything new? Anything old? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Seconded.
Properly moved and seconded. All of those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Andy?